What's up, guys? Welcome back. This is Bamboo. You're watching Bamboo Gaming. I'm just gonna do a quick tier list of the cards I feel are like how do you say this? Yeah, that I think are really good. That I think you guys should consider getting before kind of anything else. I think a lot of YouTubers, or I guess people that play Marvel Snap, they kind of say how do you say it? They suggest that you kind of skip out on series 5 cards if you're not pool 3 complete, and I agree, but they are definitely the strongest archetypes in the game. I'm just going to start off with Galactus. Galactus is super S tier, and I'm just going to discuss like each card to kind of tell you like how what I think about it, what I felt when I played against it, that I feel oppressed by this card. And for Galactus, yeah, I felt super oppressed. Like most of the time by turn 4, if you can't like lock a lane, like Debris and Green Goblin are probably great counters to this. Polaris, another one. I'm probably missing a bunch, but like the 3 that pops into my head. If you can't clog lanes before Galactus after Electro or Psylocke, it's pretty scary after you're alone with this guy, because anything can happen, you know? So, yeah, Galactus is S tier for sure. I'm just going by each card that like pops out like on. I could just do on the right side, but like right now, I'll talk about America Chavez. So America Chavez, to me, is A tier. It makes decks really consistent, high power. I think it's a 6-9. This is definitely this is post patch. This is a pre-patch. I mean 610. It's really a 6-9. But yeah, 6-9 that you get on the 6th turn is very strong. Especially in discard decks where they consistently can get this on turn 6. When they Modoc and discard the rest of their hand, and they're left with Apocalypse with it could be by that time a 6-12 or a 6-16 before Dracula absorbs it. And it's pretty cool that you can go either way. If you get waived on turn 5, you can go for Apocalypse. Especially if they Modoc or they leech, or yeah, they leech. Also, they wave, and you can only play one card, or they Sandman. Yeah, you have 2 pretty good options. You go for America Chavez or Apocalypse. Arrow, holy lord, this card is amazing. Anytime a card could, this is like the perfect move card. Like, it's pretty busted. Like, the randomness of Polaris and Magneto, you're like, that's pretty fair. You know, you give a 3-5, a random card goes to this location, and Magneto is 6-12, that goes to a random location. But it's 5, even if this card was a 5-5, 5-4, dude, that ability is that strong that the number doesn't even matter, you know? I mean, people probably added the extra ability where you could do Shuri with Arrow, which a 5-14 is pretty scary still. But most of the time you play this card, you're not really paying attention to the attack power, but you're kind of really focused on like what I can abuse with the ability. And to move all the cards, it's like the female leader, but you know, it moves rather than it copies. But yeah, that's what I feel like Arrow does. And definitely she's gonna be redesigned if they do that to like they did to Leader. But I kind of hope it's just like something like you move one card. You know, if they swarm, you can move like one random card. I don't even know how they could fix this one. But if they could only use one, if they could move one or the first card the opponent plays, at least make this a 5-8. That would make more sense. But I'll move on. So Doctor Doom, I want to say A tier for sure. This guy with the wave wombo combo at the end on turn 6, you can play She-Hulk and Doctor Doom, is what won me so many games. So Doctor Doom is just a solid card, yo. Like a cracked out Mister Fantastic. Like you could spread. It's a basically a 6/15, but you're spreading the 15, which is equally, which is really nice. It's not like Shauna. It's not like what's the other ones that like pop out numbers? Actually, top of my head, I can't really tell. But Doctor Doom, solid, bro. Like it, especially when you run him in Electro Sandman. He's super strong. On top of turn 6, you can Odin him because you play Doctor Doom on turn 5. So he's super strong. There's a lot of cute little things you can do with him. Pretty sick. So for Agent 13, I want to say, yeah, she's pretty average. Like 1/2, average power with a pretty neat ability. Any random card, so it could hurt you. It's like really 50-50, you know? Like that's what makes her pretty balanced. I would say B for balanced. Is it a balanced card? Yeah, it's a pretty balanced card. So I could say Angela right now, she was A tier before they changed her, but like I think though, you never one extra power does so much to a card, and you see that with Angela, you see that with Darkhawk, you see that when they talk about Galactus. So it's kind of crazy how one extra power does matter. You know, like why we go for 1/3s, especially if you like. It starts with a 2/0. So basically, you put the first card there. It's only a 2/2. You know how it loses the tempo. You want like a solid 5 on a lane. So it's cool when you had Angela and another card, it became a 5. You know, but it's only a 4. That sucks, yo. Like that's it can be beaten by 2 sentinels. It can be beaten by a lone lizard. Like that's pretty powerful, you know, like when you have other cards overpower you and your ability is like lackluster. So I want to say right now she's pretty oh my god, I almost want to say C tier, dude. Now that I talk about it that way, yeah, she's C tier. Angel, pretty. Move on. And there's Ant-Man. I think Ant-Man is yeah, honestly she's pretty good. Turns into a 1/4. I'm clicking it like I can see the abilities right afterwards. So, yeah, you got Ant-Man 1/1. Turns into a 1/4. Ability's pretty cool. One drop's pretty cool. Solid day 1 card. I think it's pretty solid, pretty balanced. Ant-Man, good card. Apocalypse, I want to say A tier. Balance would, I don't want to say balance. Like starting 6/8 is pretty good with for its effect to get +4 after each discard. And the way if you can pop them off, like to be a 6/20 after 2 discards and a Dracula absorb, it's pretty good. So I want to say it's A tier, just for its pretty powerful effect. It's not like Ant-Man, you know. Apocalypse, like it pretty much win games most of the time, or like it scares people to retreat. So if it could do that, if it makes you feel something, A tier for sure. Armor, A tier. Yo, if it's in everyone's deck, if it's so versatile, yeah. Armor, you know what it does. It protects all cards in that lane, can't be destroyed. Artem Zola, I mean, in certain decks, I want to say B tier. Whatever it touches, like a Red Skull or a Black Panther, or it could be like an Iron Man. It could be maybe an Onslaught, like or something crazy, like to copy 2 cards. Also there's a Doctor Doom Arnim Zola kind of combo, which is pretty nice. Like its effect is pretty neat. A 6/0, is the effect that crazy that to be a 0? Nah, I don't think so. I think sometimes like it's randomness. Like you can make this a 6/3 to be fair. Sometimes it sucks that you give like the effect. Not only is it like if the effect is that overpowered that you have to make him a 0, and to give up a whole lane, yeah, that's a pretty bad downside for an effect like that. Oh my God, Baron Mordor. No, I don't even want to talk about this card. Jeez, 2/3, average power, and like boring effect. You help with certain like decks that are pretty meta, like Devil Dino, like yeah, even in the later like most of the time this doesn't even like hit you don't, for one it doesn't give you any information. You know what I mean? You don't know if they drew into a bad card. You could even help them if there was rocks in there. So like, you know, it doesn't do much. It doesn't give you information. The effect is boring. Yeah, he's just a boring card, man. And no one even runs him. Sometimes, unless you get him from like a random or like a what's the raft? Not the raft. What's the one that gives you cards? I don't remember, but yeah, dude. Like you don't even want to play him. It's like a waste of space sometimes. Uh, Beast. I want to say, God. I want to say average. Like he's not in everyone's deck. Yeah, he's not in everyone's deck, and his bounce effect is pretty cool. It's not shitty like Angela's. You know what I mean? Like you can pull off some crazy stuff. Like you can go Beast into like oh man, I seen it run in Deadpool. I seen it run with paired with Angela. Let me like scroll this a little bit. And what's it like? Basically, one drops and they turn into free drops. You know what I mean? I think its effect is it bounce back everything in your hand, and then each card that is bounced back in that lane is -1 energy. I think that effect is even crazier on top of that. So like, I would only say A tier if one if it can reach you to infinite, or like it's just a staple. Is Beast a staple? No. I'm just gonna say he's average. Same with Bishop, pretty average. I mean, it's effect that's not ongoing, but it's a continuous effect, which is pretty cool. Being a 3/1, it's not 3/2. It's 3/1 in the game. 3/1. Each card gets one. Good in some decks. Control Sarah. We got Kazoo, like basic pool 1, pool 2. You can run a Mr. Negative deck, so it'll turn into a 1/3. So like effect's pretty good. Is it a staple? No. I want to say it's average. Black Bolt, I think Black Bolt's effect is pretty good. I think there's not a lot of cards yet that like there's not a meta where hitting the lowest card in the opponent's hand is going to be crazy. Like but Black Bolt's one of those cards like it has a cool effect because it controls what card or what cost is going to be knocked from your hand. It's not random. It's going to be the lowest. So if there's a deck that's going to like in the future that's going to be low mana dependent, not like Thanos, but like, you know, Black Bolt's going to be pretty crazy. I think if they make him a 5/8 with that, still, I think that would make him even crazier. Adam Warlock's a C. Yeah. I think if you had him in Bast, like with Bast, like I don't have Bast yet, but turn 1 Bast, Adam Warlock, then it gets crazy. You know what I mean? Like, but it's effective 2/0. What you do sometimes, like what I feel like sometimes when you put Adam Warlock alone, without a big number, like you have to pair him with something big like Ebony Maw, Adam Warlock. That's the, then it makes sense. But like but anyways, yeah, Adam Warlock's like, especially, but I mean, when he does kick off in the right situation, say if like you have Mr. Negative like activated, and Adam Warlock helps you draw like the remainder of your deck that's an all negative, that's when it's like, yo, he's scary that way when his effect pops off. But is he a staple? No. Is his like, I don't want to say it's average, dude. Like, I mean, I could be nice and say it's average, but I want to say he's C because he's like, the ability to draw one is strong, for sure. But sometimes drawing one sucks, especially like I said, because he's a 2/0 in a Mr. Negative deck. This would make sense. If you play him too early and you draw the rest of your cards that haven't been reverted yet, because that's the whole point of it. You're supposed to play Adam Warlock after. So it's like you have to have like say Bast, Zabu, Mr. Negative, and like you hit Bast hits Adam Warlock in the beginning, and then you play him like, and then that would make sense. But like how often that can happen is so low. Like, you have to wait it. Like, Beast can just happen. You know what I mean? Like, Agent 13, you player just to get that freebie. And man, you're guaranteed something like to when you have to set up a card like this, that's where I kind of think they're not. It's just not good. It's like a supporter, like, and it it's tough. This one's tough in your hand. It's almost dead card like late game because if you draw them like, may an extra draw is pretty strong too. But it's you have to sacrifice a space to draw one free one next turn, which sometimes giving up even one space is tough. So like I said, it's average. I talked so much about Adam Warlock right now, but I'm good. So, we got Abomination. I want to say average stat line, average. Like it's pretty good. 5.8. I think 5.8 is solid. Or not? Is it a 5? I think it's a 5.9 now. It's a 5.9. Yes, no effect. 5.9, perfect. Black Cat after the buff for 3.7, and then after hitting it with a Ghost Rider, you get on turn 4 you can get an 11 split. That's pretty awesome, actually. Like, one card that can give you an 11. Yeah, it's pretty good because like if it gets discarded, one you kind of give off. Do you have you're playing a discard deck? You know what I mean? Because you're only what's the only card? Mobius. What's the other? Ghost Rider. You know what I mean? Or in Hella. Like once you see this, they kind of. That's the only thing about Black Cat I don't like is like it telegraphs what you have like on turn 1 and turn 2 if you don't want to play anything. So that's the bad part about Black Cat. But the power to be 3/7 is pretty strong. Agatha Harkness, I want to say B tier, just because there's been a lot like average with utility. Like this woman over here helps you not even you can use her for farming purposes, to get boosters, and that's how people have been doing with her. They would purposely lose when they hit infinite, collect boosters, and then max out their boosters to I think 1,000 each day. But then they can go through the collection track and get those freebies. So like I want to say, oh my god, you know what? Agatha S tier. No, I can't beat that tonight. So Agatha B tier for sure. Black Widow. I want to say B tier. I think there's gonna be a lot of B tier for sure. Black Widow because one, if you're playing a Black Hawk deck, Black Widow to stop a person from drawing is very powerful. I think the power level it makes sense for her ability. One, they have to get rid of it, so they waste the space. So like the multiple uses of Black Widow, it could hurt sometimes, especially say if they have a Lockjaw deck. You know what I mean? That's when it's bad. But most of the time when you hit Black Widow, it'll benefit you. So I want to say it's B tier. Blade, average, great power, but it's very specific to discard decks. But I think some people just need a random 1/3, especially if you can just slap them in the last turn on like pretty strong Kazoo decks. You'll win most of the time. Blue Marvel, oh man, I want to say A tier, dude. This even a 5/3 is pretty crazy. Like when he activates, is he a staple? No, I'll say average, but he's above average for sure. Like I if there was a B plus, like just right in between A and B, like if I could, yeah, he'd be like one of the better B tiers for sure. If I could like rate these B tiers, I think they're pretty much in order. But like I'll definitely put the more prioritized B tiers in the front. Brood, oh my god, yeah, high B. Like effect of multiple uses in different decks is pretty cool. Silver Surfer, Patriot, Cerebro. Also, it's a 3/6 if you think about it. Yeah, you're wasting 3 spaces, but you're guaranteed a 3/6 on turn 3, which is pretty strong. Bucky Barnes, oh my god, yeah, he's definitely up there. I want to say even just because of destroy decks, and he becomes a 2/6, which doesn't make any sense. He's Bucky Barnes, he's the Winter Soldier. He's 2/6, but Captain America's 3/3. That makes no sense. And we'll pair them together right now, Captain America and Bucky Barnes. But I want to say Captain America is pretty average too. I want to just say like let's put him with the average people, because that's what I said. Like, that's the main part of the joke. He's a 3-3 with a basic ass +1 against for everybody. Like, Bucky Barnes becomes a 2-6, bro. Like, you have to fill a whole lane to get that same effect, which makes no sense to me. Like, make him a 3-4, dude. Make him a little interesting. Make him like, I don't know. He's Captain America, bro. Like, he's iconic. You have him like with the most basic ass. He's so basic, bro. Like, no one plays him, but he's like, it's average. Like, he's not as bad as like, oh god. Like, if you paired him with Angela, you know, that's when he's fire, bro. Because he makes Angela into your lane into a 2-6 on turn 3, which is that's pretty good. And then it actually helps with Professor X decks, but yeah, he could be a 3-4. 2-4. I'm sorry, 2-4. I thought 3-4. Cable. Now I want to say he's been good. Cable's been really good, especially when battle mode, because in battle mode and rank mode are two different like deck styles. Like, because you play the same guy multiple times, like, you can't play the same deck that they saw the surprise already in rank. You know, you're surprising each new player that you play. You know, it's random. But in battle mode, what's Cable's ability is it takes a card from your deck and you don't know what it is. That's hella strong. 2-2 is fine for the power for that ability. If you have to gain information about your opponent's deck on turn 2, that's really good. Especially if you pair them with decks like, it makes Devil Dino pretty strong, because you're gonna be running like cards like Cable and White Queen. And then all of a sudden, if you run Daredevil in there, it's like, oh my god, bro, like, that's a pretty solid deck. Captain Marvel, yeah, I want to say A tier. Can she be a staple? Yes. Is she like, yeah, she's in the same par as like the rest of them. Captain Marvel, like, if you're too lazy to think of and count in turn 5 or turn 6 when you drop her, yeah, like, just drop Captain Marvel. It'll go where it has to go. Just let her have space, and she'll just plop down and she'll win you a lane. But sometimes you can guess wrong. But most of the time, Captain Marvel won me a lot of games. I actually ran her in my Thor deck. If I was running Thor and I just couldn't reach a location, I used Captain Marvel for that, like, for reaching. Carnage, definitely high B, like above average. I should write. No, I'm not doing a B plus, but above average for sure. Definitely, kind of perfect timing. I paired him with Bucky Barnes, but yeah, Carnage, Bucky Barnes, all basic, strong beginner combo that we all learned, because they're pool 2 cards. So once you got Bucky Barnes, you knew when you used Carnage and you got your first 2-card 10 combo, like, you felt pretty boss when you did that first one. And then Cerebro decks, I want to say, are pretty high B for sure, just because I realized, like, you pair Cerebro with Blue Marvel and Mystique, it makes a pretty beefy lane, especially if you paired it with Brood. Yeah, because right now I think Cerebro 2 and Cerebro 3 are really strong, so you'll see them. I mean, that's crazy, where I think I saw a Cerebro challenge where there's a deck for each level. You can do Cerebro 1 to 10, which is pretty nuts. But I don't know how many, I don't know the deck composition, but Cerebro is so flexible with let's just say there's a lot of decks you can make with him. The creativity with him makes him above average. Like, a lot of, Cerebro 2, Cerebro 3 definitely is the better decks of the Cerebro archetype. But that's what makes him, like, super net. The only thing that loses to him is Scorpion. That's why I want to say he can't be A tier. If Scorpion didn't live, Cerebro would be so nasty. That's just my opinion. But Cloak, I want to say he's average. Because sometimes you don't want to have your opponent move cards to, like, the lane. He's pretty good early on, but you kind of use him, like, the only card I think of is Human Torch, but that's unless you use him on turn 4 to move Vulture, And but you're kind of the problem with that is like you're putting too much power in that lane unless you're trying to win it, on turn 4. But turn 2, you're only using it for Human Torch for sure. So yeah, he's pretty situational. Like you can't use him in every turn. You have to be really smart with Cloak. But power is pretty sick. Colleen Wing, average. I don't think she's a 3-5. I think this is wrong. She's a 2-4. She's a 2-4, and effect to. I want to say she's average. I want to say she's above average though. Colleen was pretty above average. Above average power. 2 mana, 4 power. Ability to. What she discards is precise or specific. That's what makes her really good. I wouldn't consider like Swordmaster like above average. I want to say he's pretty average with the power, but the fact that he discards like I don't know, hand size to me is really important in card games. So there's next one is Colossus, average ability, can't be destroyed, can't be moved. Sometimes like it depends if the archetype or the meta. He's probably going to be an anti-meta card for future decks, but not now. Cosmo, holy lord. I want to say Cosmo is A tier. That ongoing effect on turn 3 is crazy. To stop all on-reveal effects on the lane, especially when you pair them with like beefed up cards right behind. It's a pretty strong shield with pretty big power. So definitely A tier. Crossbones. See, Crossbones is not everyone can use Crossbones. Like turn 4 is very important when you want to pick up like tempo or you want to blow up. So Crossbones can do that, but the only cool combo I think of sometimes is like you have Mr. Fantastic in the middle hitting 2 lanes, and so you're kind of guaranteed one is winning, you know what I mean? So unless they spread pretty crazy power on turn 3, which is like unlikely. So Crossbones is a C. I want to say I don't think there's no such thing as a C plus in this one, but Crossbones is decent rank. Trash, right? This is trash rank. Decent. The meat. This is the meat. And this is like, oh man. No, I want to say this is a seasoning and this is the meat. My bad. Crystal, trash. I think Crystal's that's how trash she is. I don't even bother to remember her ability. I think if you hit her in the middle, you shuffle your hand and draw 3 cards. Like, I don't know what, I don't know. I don't see it being used. See, all right, for the average cards, I think I could rank average, like no ability cards. I want to say Cyclops is a B. Nah. All right, maybe is he in every deck? No. Is he deck specific? Yeah. You only run Cyclops in a Patriot deck. Like there's really no other reason why you run Cyclops. Same with Misty Knight, same with Shocker. The second you see Misty Knight or Shocker or Cyclops, it's a Patriot deck. So nothing crazy. Dagger now, I think, is average for sure. The buff on the 2/2 +2, pretty crazy. Sorry about the burp. Excuse me. Deadpool to me now, I want to say he's average just because. Oh God, I could say above average. I'll say above average because sometimes I last time I saw him, I played a Deadpool deck. They got him to a 24. I was like, what the hell? How did you do that? But they'll use stuff like Forge. They'll use locations to beef him up, like Mirror Island. What's crazy about him? If you put him in a lane that gives a passive +1 and Venom hits or he gets destroyed, he still gets the bonus. Sometimes, some location, or it's a glitch, but I feel like I noticed that. Debris, yeah, above average. To clog lanes, like location, like space managing is super important. And if Debris can hit enough, if you have like 2 rocks in a 2, yeah, dude, like you start feeling the pressure. And like if a card can do that, like yeah, it's pretty good. Destroyer, I want to say, is pretty solid. I'll say above B tier. To 615. I think this. I don't know who made these numbers up. That's crazy. It's probably pre. This is March 2023, and this is wrong. So 615. It's deck specific for sure. Deck specific for sure because you only run them in Professor X decks, and you also run them in Galactus, I guess. So I want to say, but the power, especially if you put them behind Cosmo, it becomes 618. Still pretty strong for a lane. And now there's Devil Dino. Oh dang. Okay. I want to say Devil Dino for a pool 2 card is A tier, dude. Like when at the end, sometimes you can make him into a 517. So that is pretty crazy. So Dr. Octopus, oh man. I want to say high B plus for sure. Like the fact that he can bring all your cards, he's a 50-50, but in the right scenario, like his effect makes sense. A Galactus deck if you're running null. The only because you doesn't matter if you pull a Shang-Chi, that's even better if you pull a Shang-Chi because then the null becomes a +10 at the end. Like I want to say cuz it doesn't suck. It's pretty good. 510, sometimes you do Shuri on it. That's pretty good too, you know? Like there's a lot of scenarios like when it's paired with something, like I don't want to say it's average cuz like yeah, no, I want to say it's B plus, dude. Like once if this an effect can go off that forces you to retreat afterwards, it's pretty good. All right, this list is getting long. Let me just let me zoom back. There you go. So we got Doctor Strange. I want to say it's average for a 3-3, or no 3-2, and then you can let me see. Yeah, and then you can bring say Vulture. Sometimes like I've seen people just tech this card oddly. But yeah, so I want to say it's just decent. Not decent. He's average. Domino's average. She's not crazy, but the effect that you always get her on turn 2 is pretty good. Dracula is a B plus for sure. Not in like A tier is like it's ran in every deck. Like these cards, like especially like from maybe Cable up, like that effect is pretty. Like their effect is pretty strong. It's not average like this. I want to say maybe Beast is pretty good, and Bishop is pretty right there. Yeah, but everything. Okay, let's put Black. That makes a little bit more sense. Like they're this. I'll organize this B tier list for sure. So it makes a little sense. But yeah, I'm pretty confident this is how I really feel about these cards. Drax, all right, average. I think he just turned average. He turns into a 4-8. I think they gave him a he's a 4-5, I think, or a 4-4. I forgot. I think he's a 4-5 now, and he gets a +3. 4-5 is pretty good. To be a 4-8, I know he turns into a 4-8 for sure. And because Groot turns into a 3-6. Yeah, so that makes sense. Ebony Maw, 1-7. Above average, for sure. 1-7 in a lane, super strong. If I see Lizard soon, I'm definitely going to put him right next to it. Electro, I want to say B plus 2, dude. Like, if you had a deck in this meta, like, revolved around you, it makes Galactus crazy. You know, Sandman's crazy. So, yeah, tier 2 deck, top tier 2 deck, definitely B plus. Electra, oh god, they gotta buff this one. I'm like when I put stuff in C, I don't even want to talk about it sometimes. Enchantress, yo, B plus. Sometimes you hit an ongoing card, your opponent's one ongoing card, they don't know what to do. I want to say she's super strong. Oh god, Falcon is like a shitty beast, bro. Like that's how I feel about him. Forge is average. You can make him better with Bast. But that's what I could say. Pretty basic. You turn two, adds +2 to the next card. You know, you can put him in Wong. It's not much to say. Gambit, because you have like an Exodia Obliterate combo, dude. I'm not saying you can be running every deck, but you're a pretty neat tech card for sure for a 3/1. Like you don't expect Gambit sometimes. It's like you just run Gambit, you know what I mean? Like it's one of those cards you can just tech into like a Mr. Fantastic, you know what I mean? Do you want to spread power? Or do you want to destroy a card early on like a Sunspot? Gamora's nuts, dude. Like I think that ability to get P of 5/12 on the right guess is pretty good. And if not, at least you got a 7, you know, out of her. So power is pretty good. 7 up is pretty good power. Ghost Rider, pretty neat ability. It can become it's a 4 mana, 3 power. It can bring any discarded card back into the field where he is. So you could do Lady Sif. The basic one is Lady Sif into an Infinite, and then you get a Ghost Rider on turn 4 with it. It could be a 23 on turn 4. That's crazy. That is crazy. I want to say Giganto is average. Power level is, the power level is nuts. 614, but it can only be played on the left. Bro, like, you know, I don't think they should limit him just to be on the left. I don't know. I think to make him a lot better, you can't be put in the middle maybe. You know what I mean? To add that 50-50 would make him like a B+ or even an A. Like that's how they would break this card. To add a guessing game with Giganto on turn 6. 14 power is pretty good. Like why run Hulk? If you can find a strategy where you can put numbers in the middle and you can just like fool around on the left or right side, like I think that's pretty strong, especially if you pair it up with like I don't really know. Other than in a Hella deck, that's usually where I see him, or a discard deck. Goose to me now is a B+. Even if Zabu's out, it stops a lot of big plays at the end for that location. It really protects it, especially if you go maybe like Goose into not Modok. What's the Brood? Brood with Goose together in a lane is super strong. If you think about it, you know what I mean? Like it's already an 8. Like how many cards? How many 1 to 3 mana cards do you have to put to beat that lane? Like rather than you just want to drop one card that kind of stops it all. It's pretty hard. Goose to Brood is, I think, one of the stronger like if you want to lock a lane, that's a good one to lock with, especially because you could surprise them on with the Cerebro, but it's pretty obvious that you're gonna do that. You know what I mean? So they're gonna focus on something else. Then you have Green Goblin. I think deck specific, for sure. Yeah, he's definitely deck specific. You can tech him. When there's a hot location, if it's like Bar Sinister, yeah, we could like play him, or that one where you can only have one card in the location. Like he's pretty scary. Like I've tricked people snapping on turn 3 with this guy, and then thinking I have this guy or I do have this guy. Like turn 3 snap is pretty scary depending on like the day. Groot, average, just because I want to fit him all into like the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's not Gamora. I think a 5/12 is nuts, bro. It's nuts. Hawkeye, decent. They could do a lot with him. I think the effect should be like if you just play a card in any location, it gets a +2. You know what I mean? So that's how they. God, but he's just. I don't want to slide him into. I like Hawkeye as a character, so I don't want to slide him to trash. Hazmat is definitely a B+ in my opinion. If you have if you're that like. If you have a deck revolved around you popping off as a win condition, yeah, that's a B+ to me. But it does, you do commit suicide if you like don't have Luke Cage. Yeah, you're just setting yourself up for failure. Unless if you really count it out, if you know that the opponent's running like, I don't know, not a lot, like if you fill their board with debris or something, or like the locations fill their location and you don't have a lot of cards, that's when it matters. It's like, oh snap, dude, I won with just like 2 cards, and they fill their whole board up, and all I won was Wong and Hazmat. That's kind of nuts. Heimdall, I want to say is average, but I've seen people. I could go above average, because if you're a win condition sometimes, and you can beef up a lot of move cards. I've seen people do Doctor Octopus as an option on turn 5, right? And they would do Heimdall in the middle or something like that, and then move Doctor Octopus in the same lane, so it becomes a 6/18. That is when it's crazy. I was like, yo, that's a sick combo. Hella. Oh god, I like the cards effect, but man, I hate that she's a 6, dude. If she was a 5, that's when she feels good. Like, but nah, dude. Like, sometimes you discard her, but I hate the fact that you have to use cards like Invisible Woman to make her like scary. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, it's like you have to add an extra card to make this card work. Like Adam Warlock. That's how I feel about it. But you get bladed. You bladed, discards hella. Swordmaster discards hella. It's like, man, I almost quit. Or you have like Lady Sif and you don't have like turn 3 and you have like Blade Lady Sif and then you have hella in your hand. Like, that doesn't feel good. Hell Cow, average 2. Now there's MODOK. No one really, like, that's kind of like a second choice. If you don't have MODOK, you just go Hell Cow. Same with Hobgoblin. Actually, I say above average. I think -8, but I don't see people running him late unless you're running a Galactus deck. Hulkbuster, I think, is definitely average for sure. And I'll throw Hulk in there. And I want to say he's average too. Like, power's pretty good, no effect, just solid. That's it. Like, above average, and then right underneath the above average is solid. Decent, trash. That's how I rank these like 3. So there's Human Torch, decent, like deck specific. So it's alright. Alright, Iceman, A tier. That's the first A tier in a while. But if there was a Scorpion in there, I don't even have to explain this card. Hits hand disruption. Hand disruption is powerful. I'll probably put Moon Knight as above average too, but because he's not a staple, I wouldn't. Invisible Woman. I think the ability to hide a card behind is pretty strong. I really do believe she's above average, and I think she's really strong as a card. Yeah, because, dude, how many times there's that Dark Dimension location, people shove cards in there, and then you don't know what they're playing, but if they fill 4 cards in that lane and they snap, most of the time you're going to leave. If there's even 3 cards behind this woman, that's hella scary. So, like, especially if they just play Invisible Woman, but the second card they play telegraphs what their deck is, you know what I mean? And then they put the 2 other cards in Invisible Woman. It's like, bro, don't tease me with what your deck is and your combo is, bro. Like, that's dumb. But yeah, that's why I think she's above average. She's pretty strong. Iron Fist, I want to say, I'll go for above average, because I've seen him work in like top meta decks. So yeah, to move 1 to the left, the next card moves 1 to the left. It's pretty strong. Ironheart's pretty solid. Iron Man, above average, especially because Iron Man's the MVP in Mr. Negative decks, and sometimes just having Iron Man on Onslaught is kind of nuts. So yeah, Iron Man is definitely an above average card, definitely an above average ongoing effect. Jessica Jones, above average. It's solid. 4/8. Don't have to do anything. Leave her alone next turn. Jubilee, 4/1. On reveal can bring a card. I say she's solid, but she's not decent, just because I think sometimes like the RNG with Jubilee, like the feeling that you get the card that you want, it feels good. Like especially if you hit an Infinite, you know what I mean, or you hit like the counter to the lane that you need, the counter card that you need for the lane. It feels pretty good. Like yeah, like these cards, the C tier, the decent ones, like don't make you get that same effect. Like you slap Crossbones, it's like that's alright, you know, it's just Crossbones. Juggernaut, definitely above average. Especially if you pair it with Storm. That's you know, or there's a Fist Tower in there, and you're trying to like close a lane up. That's when I think he shines the most, especially when you just move a card. Maybe like I would say above average because it's just like a what I think Arrow is gonna be. You know what I mean? Like if Arrow had another effect, it'd probably be like this one, but it wouldn't like have the same animation. It would just probably like randomly put cards in like different locations. I put Kang somewhere. Oh, I don't know Kang. I want to say he's if a card can give you information like above average, but I think I'll just put him average. I'm probably get hate for that, but I don't care. I don't know the card, so I just put a solid card. You know, Kazar, solid for sure. Just beefs up all your one cost cards. Killmonger is definitely up there for sure. It's in like no, I want to say A tier, bro. Like Killmonger is A tier. It dominates after you get him in pool 2. Let me. Jesus, this list is hella long, but I'll do every card that's in this list. If I miss something, yeah, we got a long way to go. I'll probably just quicken up like this. Kingpin, average. Claw, yeah, Kingpin. Oh, God, I want to say just decent. There's not a. It doesn't like the archetype doesn't pop off. Like you can threaten a lane, but they'll just clog the lane. You know what I mean? It's a guessing game for you to like. It has like the opposite effect of a lizard. You know what I mean? You drop lizard, you allow them to see if they're gonna like put their resources there. Kingpin, I don't know. Like it doesn't scare sometimes unless you're really like telegraphing that your deck's a move deck. That's when you feel scared. But if you just have them, I don't know. Like especially if you just get them randomly, it's not even strong enough to me. Claw solid to get. Not a lot of people use them, but sometimes when you see them and it hits a location you can't touch, 6 is pretty hard to beat. You know what I mean? It beats Doctor Doom. Korg, bro. Let's just say Korg's very above average. Like to add a rock randomly on a turn that you kind of need a card and you draw a rock is pretty demoralizing. Craven, average. I can say above because it can be a pretty high number, and a lot of move decks use them. Lady Sif is definitely solid. I'll say above. Probably pair him up to Colleen Wing when it like specifically targets a certain card in your hand that you really need. Oh God. Let's just say decent. I don't want to be mean to Leader. Leech, dude. Leech is A tier for sure, dude. If you could shut a whole turn down and you're a 5-3, get out of here. Lizard to me is A tier, 2-5, super strong. Lockjaw is deck specific, but definitely pops off with Thanos. Oh man, yeah, because it has some weaknesses, but it's not. It's pretty above average. I don't want to say it's solid. Magic is solid. You know, effective turning turn 7. Magneto is definitely above average. I don't want to say it's. Actually, I'll say it's A tier. So we have Magneto, and what was it? Yeah, Magneto is strong. 6'12". How do you say? Yeah. Sometimes you don't want to move things, but when you do and it works, like because it's a good surprise card on turn. I want to say it's not as great as Arrow, but it's just as effective. So, see, it's Mantis. It's not trash because you get a copy of, like, you get a card from their deck. not copy. Maximus is definitely above A. I mean, high B. Medusa, decent. Mr. Fantastic to spread power evenly early is pretty good. Mr. Negative is nuts. Mr. Negative is pretty good. Sometimes, like, when you... Yeah. Mr. Negative is nuts. So, when you have your own archetype and when you can draw more than 3 cards and they're all negative, especially if it's like a Iron Man, a Mystique, it could be a Black Panther, Arnim Zola, a Wong, a Shuri, and you run it with dude, like Mr. Negative decks, if ran optimally with consistency cards, it's pretty good. What other cards is there? Yeah, we got a whole list. So we got, yeah, I'm doing the whole list, bro. If I'm missing cards here, I am probably missing cards. I see Thanos. Oh, I saw Kang too. This is like probably all updated. All right, so Mr. Sinister, solid card. Let's go with this really fast right now. Misty Knight, yeah, I'll pair up with Cyclops and Shocker. Mojo is pretty solid. Yeah, I want to say it's solid. It's not like its effect. You don't see his effect happen often. Moon Girl is definitely above average to copy a lot of different cards, and if you have multiple cards in your hand, like double Spider-Man, double like the same one, Devil Dino. You got maybe 2 She-Hulks. Oh my god. There's like half the list you can copy and it'll like yeah. Having to surprise an opponent on turn 5 or 6 with 2 of the same card and you don't know what it is, it's pretty strong. Moon Knight, solid. I think the hand disruption effect is pretty good. Morbius, it's solid. I think just because it's like character specific, I just want to say it's solid. It's not above average. But if it does become a 210, all right, I'll go above average. Mobius is pretty good. Because if you knock him out, it's like, that's his only weakness of Enchantress, so. Morph, solid. Sometimes when it hits, it does feel good when you get the right card. Especially if you morph into an Infinite on turn 3, it's like, oh my god, bro. Multiple Man, solid. But sometimes, like, when I ran Multiple Man, like, you don't want Multiple Man to hit too many times. Because you want some space to, like, you know what I mean? Sometimes you kind of clog too much with Multiple Man. Unless, like, you pair him with Hulkbuster or you hit Forge with him. And then he's a decent power level to copy more times. Rather than it being a 2-3, 2-3, 2-3. Like a Sentinel almost for move decks. Mysterio is definitely... Yeah, I've got the trickery with Mysterio. Sometimes that gets me, dude. And yeah, like when you have to guess where they're putting the extra 4 or 5 power, it does. I don't like being put in a guessing game, and Mysterio allows you to do that. Especially it beefs up Bishop +3 because you're playing 3 cards when you use them. Oh, Mystique is definitely up there. B+. Hella solid, dude. That ability to copy any ongoing. I wish it can copy anything. That would be pretty busted. But yeah, Nakia, I think solid now. The 3-2. I definitely see people use her. Let's see. We have Namor. Dude, even with the buff, he's still decent. Any effect that's ongoing, that if they're the only card and it's there, like... Yeah, that's if there's an Orca here, I don't think there's Orca here, but let's just say Orca with him, they're decent, dude. I don't think I see the other ones like Shadow King, Ghost. It's not updated, but yeah, Namor is decent. Nightcrawler is definitely, I want to say, above average. That effect to move is on any turn that you wish is pretty strong. Nova is pretty solid now with the 1/1, and it just adds +1 to everybody. It's pretty good. Odin is high B+. The effect to reactivate on reveal effects is pretty strong to me. Okay is solid. Okay, definitely solid. But if you use them in like a decks like Thanos, or if you're running a zero deck, yeah, okay becomes pretty nasty. Oh no! Go back. Go back. Oh, thank God. I thought I lost that one. Omega Red is solid to me. Um, Sometimes that spread of extra +4 is super strong. I don't want to say it's B plus because not a lot of people. I don't know. Like not a lot of people use them. Onslaught is solid. I don't want to say he's above average. The effect to, I mean, yeah, you know what? He has some great game breaking. They had to nerf him, so let's say he's a B plus now. Patriot. Oh my God, definitely high B. Yeah, I have a lot of B pluses. I just think there's a lot of B's. I could have split this for sure. But it's taking too long. But you could tell like just this data alone, there's a lot of good cards in this game. You know, people don't realize like there's a lot of great cards. You know, like there's a small bunch that needs rework or or just like decent, like Misty Knight and Cyclops. You know what I mean? They're just unless you're running a Patriot deck, that's why they're there. I don't know why I don't know why Falcon's there, you know. But I wish I'll just put nah, sometimes you have to guess and it's not even it's a 1-2, it's bad. Polaris is solid. Nah, I'll say it's a B plus. High power, good effect, Magneto effect. Professor X is I'll say it's pretty good. I'll say it's pretty good. To lock a lane down, decent power. Yeah, you can buff them up with Spectrum at the end. And it's protected by cards like Destroyer. So I think that's pretty good. Psylocke is solid. Good power. Good effect. Quake. Decent. Quicksilver, decent. You get him in first turn. You kind of use them in Agatha decks. Quake, you randomly change the locations if you put her in the middle. I think she should be wherever you put her. Like you just change the locations. You know what I mean? Just randomly, if she hits the field, you change all the locations. Like why the middle? So Quinjet, pretty good. I want to say it's pretty good. B plus, not A. A Raptor. Yo, Raptor's trash. Rescue is solid, but it gets Shang-Chiable, so that's why I don't like him. Rhino, pretty good. I'll say decent. I don't barely use him. Rocket Raccoon turns into a 5. That's pretty good. Rock Slide is, I want to say above average. Definitely when you add 2 rocks to the deck, it's pretty good. Rogue is solid. It can steal, but the thing about her is it's random what you steal. Ronin, I think, is solid, but it's probably going to need an archetype soon. It's going to get an archetype soon. Sabretooth is solid. Becomes its 0/4 when it gets destroyed. Sandman with the buff now. I think he's just decent still. Now that I played him. 5/5, yeah, the buff was needed. But, yeah. Scarlet Witch is definitely B plus. Wow, this list is just, look at the sandwich of B's of solid cards. So Scorpion to me, actually no, I want Scarlet Witch is A tier. Sentinel I think is pretty good, power level 2-3, and then you can make copies of him. You can definitely get a lot of value if you pair him with like Devil Dinosaur. And yeah, to have solid 6 on a lane, especially if you pair 2 Sentinels in the same lane or you spread power like that, it's pretty strong. Sarah is definitely B plus for sure. I want to say put it right next to Quinjet. The effect to minus the whole hand by 1 cost is pretty great. You can start doing combos like Shang-Chi and Enchantress. Shang-Chi, dude. Oh, actually, you know what? Yeah, I'll say above B plus. Shang-Chi is definitely A tier. Yo, when you in every deck. That's why you have Shang-Chi. So Shocker is decent. I'm just gonna finish the rest up real fast. Spectrum is pretty solid. Spider-Man is above average. To lock a lane down is nuts, but he's not ran in every deck. I want to say Spider-Woman now is solid. Squirrel Girl is solid. Pair with the Squirrel. Star-Lord solid. Storm is definitely a B+. Strong Guy. Sunspot. There it is. Whoa. Where are you going? Where are you going? Sunspot. God, the champion. He's everywhere. Swarm's decent if you don't. Yeah, Swarm's decent, but you need Colleen Wing to activate him. I want to say Swordmaster's decent too. Taskmaster is definitely a high B+, and there you go. Here we have Thanos, Galactus, and Arrow. Oh my god. They are crazy. We got Collector decent. The Hood. Shoot. I want to say solid because you get the effect of getting a 1/6, but he's a -2, so you kind of have to figure out how to get rid of him. Infinite is definitely A tier. That power is crazy. I don't think I see She-Hulk. So yeah, I'm missing some cards. I don't have She-Hulk. She-Hulk would be here. And then we got Punisher, solid. The Thing is definitely going to be paired with the decent cards. Oh god, White Tiger. We got White Tiger. We got the Tiger Spirit. Wave. Yo, A tier Wave. The ability to lock to either bring a card early like Galactus. Yeah, to get a card like Galactus or shut down Swarm decks on turn 5. It's pretty strong. Yeah, Zero. Oh man, can I get? I'll say B+. Typhoid Mary, definitely paired with him. Typhoid Mary's effect kind of sucks. The ongoing to -1 everything, but the power is really strong. But if you pair him with Zero, and I think Red Skull is Red Skull here. Yo, no Red Skull. I'm missing some cards. They're missing a lot of cards actually. I don't think they finished this one. But yeah. I'm definitely missing some cards, but whatever cards are here, I'm just doing a quick tier list on it. Let's go. Yes, solid B+. So yeah, White Queen is definitely above average for sure. And the cards I put down, Ultron. Oh man, actually, yeah, Ultron, Venom, Vision. I'll say Warpath is solid. Vulture is solid. But he can be pretty powerful with the +5 per move. Viper is pretty strong, but it's not used in every deck. You know what I mean? Because you give up a card for them, so you have to pair it up with like the Hood. White Tiger, something probably you can give up too, but she's pretty good. That you, it's basically a 5/8, but you spread the 8. But the White Tiger can go randomly, so I think she's solid. Oh yeah, the Winter Soldier with Bucky Barnes. Where is this guy? Where Bucky at? Oh, here he is. Bucky Barnes and Winter Soldier. And then we got Wolfsbane. I think she's solid. Wolverine definitely got a pretty neat buff, so I'll give him like a spot up there. And then Yondu is definitely big, and then Wong is pretty good too. I'm definitely missing cards like Darkhawk, the newer Series 4, the Series 5. But if I could talk about those cards, Darkhawk is pretty strong. Definitely would be A tier for sure. I'm trying to think of some other cards. Silver Surfer, A tier for sure. She-Hulk should definitely be S tier. I wish I had another tier, a full tier list. But yeah, guys, this is probably an almost close to complete tier list of all the cards in Marvel Snap right now. But yeah, missing series. I mean, they had Kang in here. That's what's kind of crazy. You have Kang, but you don't have like the remainder cards. We're missing Null. I would put him in A tier. Yeah, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If I don't mention cards like Shadow King, oh, Stature is definitely I don't know, but I heard she's solid. She turns into a 1/7. She's a 5/7, but if anything moves, or oh no, it gets discarded. She becomes a 1/7. Ghost came out, and I don't remember what else, but I think that's probably the whole list. So guys, yeah, thanks for listening, or if you got through this whole video, thanks for watching. And until yeah, next time, peace.